Hello everybody, it's Drew, I'm that frog guy, and today we are doing a reptile room tour. It's April 1st, and let's get into it. So let's start with one of the most loungiest princesses in all of the land, Khaleesi. She is a bearded dragon, and she is probably getting close to, I'd say almost a year old, a little older maybe, depending on how old when we got her. She's in a 40-gallon breeder style with a mesh top. She has a UVB and a heat bulb, and then a night light, and there was a UVB there, but it was flashing, so we turned it off. Probably need to replace that. But yeah, we've had her for a good long time. She's about 18 inches long, and she's my fiance's first lizard. And yes, you know, the tank isn't set up perfectly. We're working on getting some changes. We gotta... we're gonna do a full foam background and sides. We just haven't got around to it yet, so it'll be coming soon. So Khaleesi will have a nice little home to bask underneath the bulb all day. And for those you don't know, bearded dragons don't do much. They sit and they enjoy the sun, and then they will sit on your lap when you watch TV shows. But we'll get done with that, and we'll go on to the next person. We'll go over here to Tortellini, one of our newest additions and one of my favorite additions, because he is just the cutest little guy. He doesn't like kale or any other plants, so we pretty much had to feed him romaine hearts. He is a African spur-thighed tortoise in about I'd say about a 10-gallon or tub, I guess. It's got more surface area than depth, and that's all that matters. We are upgrading him here soon to a larger container, but for now he's doing pretty good. His substrate is what do they call it? Cypress mulch, and yeah, he is one of our favorite little guys. He's still a little afraid of humans, but one day it'll be better. Normally he closes completely up, so having him just kind of sit there in the sun is pretty nice. But yeah, he's gonna get huge someday, so we'll see what we have to do with him. But I'll jump our way over to our other rack to see our other leading lady, Cersei, and her butt. And this fan is giving me too much glare. So there's Cersei's little hole. She's kind of hanging out. Cersei is a pinstripe ball python, and she's in kind of a bioactive setup. She likes to run over all the plants. As you can see, they are just crushed and squished. So I don't know how long they'll really last in here. I'm gonna try to find something else to plant in here, but so far so good. She is in a 20-gallon snake tank, I guess, with a mesh top that locks in place. Got a couple of heat lamps. We have to mist her daily just to keep up the humidity. But she's doing great. I'd say she's... You saw, if you've watched one of my other videos, I just had her out in another video, but she's pretty darn big at this point. But we'll jump up to the next tank and try not to disturb her. It's her feeding day. We'll jump up to this tank where we have the planted tank that keeps going through changes all the time. It's kind of funny watching the plants die, come back, we get different ones. But in this tank we have Morpheus. If I can get it to focus. Focus. Morpheus is a plakat tail beta. Let's get a little light in the tank. And then he's got some zebra danios kind of hanging out. And then as you notice, there's those two, they're hiding in the back because a little scared of me, but these two mollies that are just plump full of food. Hey Morpheus, what you doing? He's got something stuck to his face. Don't focus on him at all. There he is. But he's a plakat tail beta. He's the king of this tank. He doesn't really mess with anybody. Those shrimp that I let go in here a while back, actually I saw him the other day. There's also a bristlenose pleco in here somewhere, but he is so huge, he's gonna have to move out sooner than later. But we'll jump over to the next tank. Is my little test aquarium. It's a 10-gallon saltwater, or a 1-gallon saltwater tank with an old filter in it. I'm just seeing what happens. There's nothing living in it yet, but we'll see. I have some ideas with this. I just want to see what I can do. And then we'll jump up to the next tank, is a 5-gallon shrimp tank that I don't really do much with. As you can see, it's just overgrowing with frog bit, but there's also a ton of shrimp everywhere, and interesting enough, a bunch of flatworms and other little things. Yeah, there's baby shrimp. So they're reproducing in there. I'm not really messing with it too much. I feed them once in a while, but I'm kind of letting nature take its course in that tank just to see what happens, and it's doing pretty good. I don't have to change filter, nothing dies. Just kind of a perfect little ecosystem going on there, which is a great style of tank for those people that don't want to do too much work. But once we get the reptile room down in the basement set up, which is coming up pretty soon, I'm gonna redo every one of these tanks. Maybe not the frog tanks, but all of the aquatic tanks. I'm gonna re-aquascape everything, get rid of that, what do they call it, duckweed on all my tanks, and I'm gonna do some real fun scapes. So keep that in mind. We'll do some rescaping in the future. We'll jump over to the Ziggy's tank, but as you guys can see, he is buried. He's right in there somewhere. He doesn't come out that much this time of year. He likes to hide, but he was out for like a week. I got him good and plump, and then he buried himself again. So I don't know. He's an interesting little frog. Ziggy is a Pac-Man frog, and yeah, I've had him for a little over 1.5 years, so he's probably going on 2 here, and he's doing great. He's doing pretty good. He just likes to burrow and stay hidden. It is a 20-gallon high. It's a 20-gallon high planted vivarium. It's one of my first vivariums I've ever made, and I definitely will make changes on the next ones because I'll pull this light up. It really likes to overgrow on the top, and I just can't keep up with the trimming to make it not so crazy. But I like this area where the fern's at, and then all the other stuff. They're kind of filling that area in nicely. The reason I did the top like that is because he's a burrowing creature. I didn't want him to knock over every plant I had and put in the tank, that's why I put this log here. He doesn't go up into that area, but maybe someday. We'll jump down to this tank, which is going through some changes ever since I switched the light. This was going to be the Gitrog tank. It still will be a Gitrog tank someday, but it's growing in really nice. I could even throw dart frogs in here. The pond is a little deep though. I'd be a little worried about losing them in here, but I don't do anything to this tank. It has its own, essentially terrarium style life here. It's just really cool. This one plant is just crazy, taking over the pothos. But I haven't done much to this tank since I started it, and it's still looking really cool. Like, it's growing great. The bugs, the leaf litter, all the vines. Surprisingly, the tanks you don't even touch are the ones that grow and look really cool after a while. If the glass wasn't covered in so much moisture, I could give you guys a good look at it, but there's kind of good. The moss is growing great, the vines are growing great. The duckweed actually receded ever since I switched out lights. So duckweed must need a high light, or the water's got something going in it. So I'll change out all the water before I put my next creature in there, just because all of the things that have happened to me lately. But we'll jump over to the next tank. I hope you guys didn't get mites. It's kind of weird. The one's got nothing on top, but this one does. I'm gonna move you a little farther away from the other one. We'll jump over to this rack, and in here we got the shrimp tank. Tons and tons and tons of cherry shrimp. And I fed them this morning, but there's still plenty of shrimp. I have to do a top down, but it is just filled to the brim with moss. And that's all local moss from up here. I just took a couple pinches, and it's just grown and grown and grown. I can't keep it down, but it's pretty cool. There's tons of baby shrimp everywhere if it'll focus on them. So it's pretty darn cool. I don't do much besides feed them. But we'll jump over to the next tank, which is there goes one of the. Hey, over here. Well, this is. Are you okay, bud? sleeping? Well, either way, this is... Oh, there he is. They're like cats sometimes. They don't really... He was sleeping on the bottom like, what the crap, woke up. But this is my first beta. His name is Floki. And he's just going to chase those other little fish around. And there's two LG, what do they call, autos back there. He doesn't really care. But he's the master of this 5-gallon tank. He's going to get a makeover too when I get around to doing some changeover here. But beyond that, he's doing great. He is a, what is it called? He is a half moon tail dragon scale beta. So he's like a iridescent color. And generally he'll come up and say hello, but he saw those autos, so he's gonna chase them around a little bit. But we'll jump up to the dart frog tanks, which are kind of dirty. I won't deny that. Thaddeus has been crawling all over the glass lately. I think Thaddeus might be a female, because he or she is always up on the glass looking at his other tank. I think territorial-wise. But the tank's doing great. I'm gonna have to empty out a little bit of water here soon. Is that a shrimp? Holy crap. I put that shrimp in there when I first started this tank. I have not seen them since. Holy crap, that is pretty darn cool, guys. That is pretty darn awesome. Can't believe that shrimp has been in here for close to a year. I put a couple in there, but it looks like only one has made it. Oop, here's Thaddeus. Checking us out. He thinks I'm gonna feed him, or she. Such a silly little frog. Not really little if you think about it. Those coconut hides are half of a coconut, so he's pretty big. But he's definitely, or she is definitely, I'm pretty sure it's a she, has definitely decided to become way more active and way more, what do they call it? Well, she's not scared of me at all, like, ever. Like, I probably could pick her up and she wouldn't care. But we'll leave her alone. I don't want to spend too much time. I can't get it to focus very well. Well, let's try one more time. Come on, focus on her. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get a new camera, guys. My phone's just not the greatest anymore. But we'll look at this tank and I'll open her up because it's, luckily it's an Exoterra. It's a little easier to see. But those two are such skittish little frogs that I can never really get a good video of them, especially if I start talking up here. Lately they've been hiding down low. Orchid's doing pretty good there. Yeah, I don't know. And here we got two other dart frogs. They are Rantiomea Intimidator, Intermedius, Molder and Scully. And I have news. It looks to me that Scully is gravid, so we will maybe be having some little tads show up pretty soon. It took a while. I never heard any calling, but she is definitely a completely different size than Molder, which is, if I could get them in a video, which I'll insert right now if I have a good clip of them. Otherwise, I'll have another video down the line when I actually can catch them, but I gotta catch them right away in the morning before they realize I'm onto them. They're very skittish, the Rantiomea species. And I forgot to mention, Thaddeus is a Dendrobates tinctoris powdered blue that I raised from a tadpole. He's doing great though, or she. But we'll leave the dart frogs alone and head up to Casey. Casey is a African spiny-tailed lizard. I've had him for 17 years now. And he lives in this nice little planted tank here, or planted, wow, that cactus has grown quite a bit. Probably about a half an inch since the last time I did this. But it's just a 10-gallon tank. I feed him crickets, roaches, superworms, mealworms. He realized we're filming him. I think he might actually be a female too. That's why I chose an androgynous name like Casey when I was a kid, because I was never sure. But he's gonna get an upgrade eventually. But his is less low priority, or she, mostly because he's pretty happy in here. He was crawling up there this morning underneath his UVB. And I got a night light for when it's cold in the winter, but it's pretty nice this time of year. But we'll rotate ourselves around over to the saltwater tanks. So here's the main display now that the frogfish is gone. So those of you who have not been keeping track of my videos, the frogfish actually passed away on me. Same thing with the pixie frog, like a week apart from each other, and I'm still not sure what happened there. So only bandits left in here, but all the corals are doing great. Look how big that Duncan has gotten. And as you can see, there's been a big algae outbreak. It happened right after he died, so I'm thinking maybe it might have been some kind of ammonia spike or nutrient spike, and yeah. Now that he's gone, there's less nutrients in the water. It's just kind of really sad that he had passed, because he was really, really cool. But yeah, pallies, we got a torch there, and we just picked up some mushrooms the other day. And then Bandit hanging out in the back there, wherever he'd be. But all the other corals are doing great. Nothing's really getting overgrown besides that one zoa colony on this side. But it's doing pretty good overall. But I have another video or another series planned here soon. I'm going to upgrade this tank, kinda. It's going to be a cycling video and a bunch of other parts to the video, but that's coming up soon. So if you guys have any good ideas for that, please let me know. I also put some shrimp in here on the tank below. If I can get the camera to focus on them. Yeah, you can see it from an angle, but the glass isn't quite working. You guys can see the ghost shrimp on the worm back there, maybe. Zoom in, he's just hanging out. I had to move the worm because I was worried about the torch stinging it, along with any other corals, so the torch is kind of where it's sitting there. But the tank's gonna get a whole new makeover sooner than later, and I'll do like a coral feeding video and stuff. But that Duncan is massive, and he's got another head. Got a lot of other heads starting too. But this tank is gonna get an overhaul pretty soon when I get back down to the reptile room downstairs. But we'll jump down to this tank here, which is kind of just the food tank for the frogfish, and now it's just kind of a invert tank. Shrimp, anemone crab. He's doing the thing where he catches floating particles and eats them. God, they're so cool. I gotta say, anemone crabs are one of my favorite crabs. Here, I can get a good zoom on him. The anemone's doing great. Nothing really seems to mess with it. The other shrimp are pretty territorial, but they seem to be getting along. The dragon's breath is growing actually pretty good, along with the other types of things. This tank's actually doing really good, and I don't do anything to it. I just add a little bit of water here and there. I don't actually even do any water changes on this tank, just enough to keep the salinity correct. I mean, I do little ones, but since it's mostly an invert tank, they all eat detritus. It kind of feeds the plants, and it's just kind of a cool little closed ecosystem here. That's why I'm not worried about the algae or anything, because it is what it is. Is that a surf snail? It is, huh? Didn't think I put any of those in here. But we'll leave that tank alone, and we'll go see some of the other ones that I have brewing. So, hold on. Okay, we're going on to the tanks that are not in the reptile room. Here we got E.T. and his pile of detritus. I need to clean this tank, so don't worry about it too much, but he's doing great. I just did a video on him the other day. He's just kind of waiting for me to give him food, but he's just chilling. You're chilling, right? There you go. Yeah, he's such a weird fish. He's really cool. He's like a betta, but cold water. But he's in a 10-gallon planted tank with limited maintenance. But I'm gonna do a big overhaul on his tank too whenever I get to the reptile room, because I'm gonna want some of these ferns and that Anubias, and I want him in a different tank. But we'll get into that eventually. But that is E.T. He is a central mud minnow. Nothing really too special. He's just the current tenant of that tank, along with some snails. But we'll move on to the some of the other tanks. I wanted to show you guys how this one's doing. This hexagon I just picked up a light the other day. It's just got an LED bulb in there so it doesn't get too hot. And I want to show you guys how quickly the purple-red crypt has started to turn green. But everything else is doing great, including that orchid up there, all the bromeliads. This tank will look really cool someday once it's fully grown in. Even the frog bit's coming back quite a bit. I like this tank a lot. We'll lift up the light here. As you guys can see, kind of down into the mix, it's got a pretty cool down view. It's got rubber plants, the crypt, I forgot what they're called, lemon button ferns, African mask plant, nerve plants. But this terrarium is one of my favorites. Still my only terrarium that's actually in my main floor of the house, so that's something. But we'll go down to the basement and check out the final tank that no one's ever seen. So come with me. And here is the final tank for today. This is my, was my feeder tank for ghost shrimp. But as you can see, it's my snail tank. Lots and lots of snails. There's actually one cherry shrimp in here. Little male. I am surprised on how many snails there are. Look at big old ghost shrimp female there. So there's about 10 ghost shrimp left in here. I'm gonna see if they'll breed. They don't really do too much. I feed them shrimp food, pellets, whatever I got. That one's very excited. Very excited. Ghost shrimp are kind of creepy. Oh, another one popping out. Another one popping out. They kind of all come out of nowhere. And then there's a bunch of snails, different kinds of pond snails that I didn't start with this many in this tank. I just threw like a handful, like 4 or 5 snails, and they've just been reproducing like mad. You got your ram's horns, you got your ponds, or got your pond snails here. They don't seem to eat the Java ferns, but they eat all the algae, which is great. They even eat some of the duckweed. But they leave the Java ferns alone, which is really, really nice. But yeah, this is my final little tank. It's just a 10-gallon holding tank in a bathroom down in my basement. It does have a heater, otherwise it'd probably be in 50-degree temps. I'm trying to keep it around 60 to 80. Probably more like 70-ish something. But thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. I come up with videos all the time. And this will be my April 1st reptile room video. So if you liked this at all, please leave a comment. Please subscribe. And if you have any great ideas for more videos in the future, please send them to me in email or just comment with them. I love hearing your guys' opinions. I can't make this channel better without you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.